Good morning, boys and girls. How are y'all doing today? Hopefully, y'all are very well. Okay, today we're going to be going over a new segment that's going to tie into what we've been doing this week called long division. Okay, so what do we know about division? Because I know we're going to go into the whole long part, okay? What is division? Division is the breakdown of large numbers into groups. This can be maybe, as someone had said, giving away cookies. Let's say they brought in 25 cookies and we want to share amongst everybody here. Are we each going to get 25 cookies? No, we're going to divide it into a smaller number, okay? So what do we actually know? We need to know our multiplication tables in order to understand division. Okay, teacher, what do you mean? Or I can't really remember. Okay, well, let's just say we have the problem 56 divided by 8. How will we get the answer? If you think about it and you see, okay, that's an 8. I think I know my multiplication tables. No, I know my multiplication tables. 8 times what gives you 56? And 7. Okay, so the answer would be 7. 7 times 8 is 56. Okay? So now that we understand, or we're remembering that 56 divided by 8 is 7, we're going to learn some new terms that will help us understand and work out long division. Okay? The new terms that we're going to learn is the big number that's always in the beginning in our math problem will be our dividend. Okay? Our dividend will be divided by our divisor. So it'll be our divisor. Our divisor, okay, teacher, is just the answer, right? Like, come on, we're just gonna do 56 divided by 8 equals our answer. Okay, but in division, they have a specific name for it. It's gonna be called quotient. So it'll be quotient. So remember that when we're doing our division problem, big number divided by a smaller number will equal our answer. Again, big number, dividend, divided by our divisor, smaller number, equals our quotient. Okay, so now we're going to go into long division where we're going to learn new symbols as well, okay? So we know this regular division symbol that we're going to see in problem solving and of course in the one that we just did. Now we're going to do long division where we're going to use basically the symbol of just a straight line going up, a little curve, and then going across, like a subtraction, okay? You're going to divide, remember it's 8, just divide it. So long division requires for us to follow certain steps. I know sometimes steps can be a little hard for us to remember, so when we think of division, again, what do we think of? We usually think of food, like how we say cookies, cupcakes, anything of that sort, okay? But when I think of it, I think of burgers. I don't know why, but just the ones from McDonald's. I think they're so good, and I know most of y'all here do eat burgers as well, okay? So to remember what steps we have to do precisely would be for us to remember an acronym or something that'll help us remember exactly what to do. Okay? We're going to remember, does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? Okay? What we need to remember is the first letter. Can everybody just please repeat the whole thing with me? Does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? The first letter of our acronym would be D. The D would mean that our first step would be to divide. We're going to divide in our long division. The second step that we would need to do is M, which is multiplication. We're going to multiply, and I'll show you right now how. Then following step 3, would be S. Sell, which means to subtract. We're going to subtract. Fourth step, C for check. Last step, B, bring down. Okay, teacher, I don't understand what you're talking about there. It's okay. I'm going to teach it to you right now. Just remember, what are the steps that we have to follow whenever we do long division? Does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? Okay, everybody repeat it with me one more time. Does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? And what do we need to remember from each word? The first letter. The first letter is going to tell us what to do. Okay? So let's go into the problem. 153 divided by 3 equals our quotient. Okay? What was the first one? Would be, remember the big numbers was called our dividend divided by our divisor equals our quotient. Okay, so remember, dividend. Dividend's the big number inside, which would be 153, divided by our divisor, 3, equals our quotient. And that's what we're about to figure out. Okay, so why do you think, okay, teacher, why did you draw a house? That's not a house. That's just like a little thing going down. Well, for us to actually maybe understand it a little bit better, we can think of this as a house. Okay? The divisor, which is a smaller number, when you think of divisor, what do you think of? Like an advisor, okay? Like an advisor coming to your house asking for some space in the attic. Basically, right? So let's just say our divisor is coming to the dividend's home. The home's always going to be dividends. Think of it that way. Asking for spots. Since there's 3 spaces, there can only be 3 numbers on top. No more, there sometimes can be less. Okay? So the 3, which is our divisor, is coming and asking, knocking on the door, asking for some space in the attic. 3 and 1. How many 3's go into 1? We're dividing right now. Remember, this is where we're starting our whole process, okay? First step, 3 into 1, divide. How many 3's go into 1? Do 3 people fit into a spot of 1 person? No, they don't. So we would put 0 because that spot is taken. Nothing can fit there. Now, 3. How many 3's go into 15? And what are we doing? We're dividing. How many 3's go into 15? And then this is where multiplication comes in. 3 times what gives you 15? Let's do the multiplication facts of 3. 3 times 1 is 3, then 6, 9, 12, 15. So our answer would be 5. So 5 times 3, multiplication, is 15. Do you write the 15 in the bottom? Yes. Why, teacher? Because you're taking the spot of the 15, right? 5 times 3 is 15. Okay, we already checked that one out. Now, what else are we going to do? The S, which is subtract. What are we subtracting? The 15 minus the 15. Can anybody tell me what that is? 0. Perfect. Now, our next step would be to check it. Did we do it right? Okay, how did we get the 5 again? Well, teacher, 5 times 3 is 15. Okay, and after that, what was our following step that we had to do? Subtract. Did we subtract correctly? 15 times 15 is 0. Perfect, we did it right. Now, our last one would be burgers, the letter B. What does that mean? Bring down what? There's no burgers, teacher. What are you talking about? Well, B would be to bring down the 3 because there's still a spot left, right? And our divisor wants to fill up the whole quotient. Alrighty? So 3 comes down, and again, the divisor is asking the dividend. How many 3's go into 3? And of course, how many 3 times what is 3? 1. Okay, so only one group of 3 goes into 3. Now we multiply. Is it correct? 1 times 3 is 3. Okay, what else do we do? What's the following step that we have to do? Subtract. Okay, so let's subtract. 3 minus 3 is 0. Okay, and now check. Let's check this. Did we do it correctly? First, well, let's check. We divided 3 times 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. Okay, we multiply. 1 times 3, 3. And then, following step, subtract 0. Now, our following step, our last step that we have to do would be to bring down. What are we bringing down? Is there any more space on top in the attic or where it had said? No, there isn't. So there's nothing here. So does that mean we're done? We're done. And what did we come up with? 51. So if we write it down, just how we had written it down here, it would be, remember, 153 divided by 3 equals 51. Okay, so since we just worked it out, we've already learned so many things in just a little amount of time. You know that now instead of using this division symbol, we're going to use this one. And it looks, of course, like a little house. We know that. We know our acronym that we have to follow just so we can actually work out the long division. This wasn't really that difficult. You all got it like really well. So we already know what to do. We've already learned long division. Okay? Now we're going to go into our own groups and we'll go over this once more just so we can get the hang of it until you all do it on your own. Alright?